чулися? Can you hear it? You can now hear it? No, okay. We're testing some new crazy things in here, so yeah. Okay, we're waiting a few more minutes. The sound should be absolutely fine now. So we're waiting for a few more minutes for the people to join. And in the meantime, while we're having like 14 people, how often do you guys happen to present online? Let me know in the chat, like, is it weekly? Is it daily? Is it monthly? Is it, I don't know, like yearly? Let me know in the chat while we are gathering together. So I'll remove this one. Daily, every day, sometimes more than once daily. Okay, to them at least once weekly. Monthly, weekly. Okay. Nope, but I have to start. Okay, maybe they will ask you for sure. Businesses are moving quite a lot to online presenting because of just the nature of the businesses nowadays, especially here in Sofia, but not only, obviously. Okay, so let me just plug in the chat. Okay, so this one, no, but I have to start. Okay, anyone else? No, but I have to start is the last one. Participants, more. Okay. Analyst. Okay, so we'll ask anyone else? No, but I have to start. Okay, anyone else? Like weekly, daily? Okay. No more answers, as of now, at least. Okay. So let me just remove this stuff for a sec. Okay, so are we ready to start? Let's see. Nope, I have to start. Okay, last one. So a lot of you are presenting online very, very often. I was just looking for something else here in Zoom because obviously there is a slight change in how the software works. Okay, so I'm not sure whether or not we should be waiting more at the end of the day. Let's wait 1 more minute. Okay, so in the meantime, again, you're presenting very often online, but then what is the platform that you guys are using? Are you using Skype for Business? Are you using Zoom? Are you using what, Cisco WebEx? Are you using Microsoft Teams? What are you using? Let me know in the 1 minute that's left in here. Let's see in the chat. Who is using Zoom? Zoom. Okay, everyone is using Zoom. Jesus, okay. Skype for Business and Cisco Telepresence, okay. Google Meet, Zoom, Skype for Business, and Zoom. Wow. You guys know that Skype for Business is going down, right? Very soon it will be deprecated by Microsoft and it will move to Teams. Even though not that many people like Teams, it will go there. So stay tuned. Obviously, it will take some time because of the large corporations, let's call them, but Skype for Business is now considered completely dead. So, yep, it's awful. Diana, I know. A lot of people are used to Skype for Business, and the move to Teams is completely different story. But yep, it's happening. Okay, anything else? Google Meet. Okay. Anyone using Hangouts? Google Hangouts? Anyone? Let's see. Or at least used Google Hangouts? Is there anyone? Let's see in the chat. Yep. Bojana Stoyanova is using Google Hangouts. Yeah. A lot of players in the game. By the way, we were recently asked to use a software, a webinar platform that is called Blue Jeans. I don't know whether or not you guys know that one, but it is being used by some really large organizations out there. I don't know whether or not you have used it. I don't know what you think about it. You really don't want to hear my opinion on that platform, but anyone used Blue Jeans? And let's start. Anyone? The platform is called Blue Jeans. Atlassian use it for client support. Okay, so Atlassian is a company, for those of you who don't know what Atlassian is. Okay, so yeah, I don't know whether or not you have seen it, but just a quick advice before we start this 6 minutes later. If you guys are going to be using Blue Jeans, please prepare. Like, please prepare. It is not the most intuitive platform on the planet Earth, to be completely honest. So please prepare and be kind of ready for some surprises. Okay, so let's start today's webinar. This is our third or fourth webinar since the start of the year. Obviously, it should be our fourth because it's April, at least from my understanding. Today, my name is Boris. First of all, for those of you who guys haven't seen me, don't know me, whatever, I run presentation agency 356 Labs, where we deal with some of the most critical presentations out there. We also train people in various presentation related topics. If you guys want to know more about us and what makes us so cool, let me know after the chat, or just ping us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, email, any way. Now, today we want to talk about online presentations, and the cool part is that we are in an online presentation. And today I want to go through some tips and tricks in regards to online presenting, which if you guys haven't implemented yet, I would highly suggest you try, okay? Because at the end of the day, you guys present on a daily basis online. And if so, you probably are presenting to some people or discussing some really important things with sometimes at least with some really important people. And if you know how to do that better, then that's not a bad idea, right? So let's see what are the tips and tricks that we have in terms of online presentations. So one of the first things that I want to ask you, and let me know in the chat, is the following. Have you ever, guys, been asked to share your screen? Let me know in the chat. Have you been asked to share your screen? Let's see the answers in the chat. Yes. Yes, all the time. By someone in our team. Okay, always. Yep. At least 6 times per day. That's now an answer. At least it's not 7, so that's good. Okay, let's see anything else. 6 times per day. Anyone else? Anyone being asked to share their screen? Anyone? Yes, Ivan? Okay, so obviously all of you have been asked to share your screen. Now, how many of you asked someone to share their screen and they didn't know how to do it? How many? And how often do you see that problem? Let's see. Anyone seen that problem? Like, you ask someone to share their screen and they're like, oh my God, do you see it? Okay, so no, not here. So where was this? So they're going even once in a while, not too often though. Okay, so things are changing, obviously. So they're going all around looking for the buttons. I'm an auditor asking the same every single day, and I ask at least 10 people per day. So Diana, do you see? Yes, and it's terrible to try to explain them how to do it. Okay, so I'm sure that, by the way, that info from some of you, that many people are now kind of aware, when you ask them how to share the screen, they know how to do it. It's kind of surprising, at least for me, because up until now, we haven't seen that move that well. Because most of the times when you ask someone to share their screen, it is a nightmare. Like, it is a nightmare. Oh my God. Okay, I will. So let me figure out how to do that. So they click on some buttons and, oh, it's not here. Just sorry. They're going to the more. It's not on more. On and on and on and on. And how terrible can that be? Like, seriously, how terrible can that be? At the same time, the reason why I'm asking you all of that, and the reason why I'm pointing that out as one of the biggest issues that we see, is not exactly because of the, to be honest, because of the sharing screen feature by itself. right? It's not because of the sharing screen. It is because of the features in the product themselves. So many times you are going to be asked to join any of those tools like BlueJeans, Skype for Business, Google Meet, like Zoom, what have you on the market, depending on the client, obviously. And if you guys don't know the platform, and I'm sure that you have seen it from the other side, right? The other guys don't know the platform or the tool. They are spending just such an immense time trying to figure out why is there. Have you seen that one? Let's see whether or not you have seen this one. Have you seen someone trying to kind of talk and speak, but they don't know how to unmute themselves, or for some reason there is a problem with the devices, the device setup? Have you seen that one? Let's see in the chat again. All the time. Okay. All the time. Anyone else? All the time. Okay. Let's see. I mean, this is like every conf call. Well, that's what I'm talking about. And here for us and for all of us who are here, I believe what we need to do with you is try to push the message that everyone who is joining the call should be spending a bit of time beforehand understanding the platform they are going to be using. As I told you, with our client, one of the biggest banks here in Bulgaria, and not only, they're using BlueJeans. And I personally, to be completely honest, even though we are following that space, haven't seen BlueJeans up until then. And when I heard the name, I was like, what is this now? Is this yet another just conferencing tool? So we joined the conf call way earlier just to try and figure out where are the buttons, how do we share the screen, because obviously we're going to be sharing our presentations. So we need to share our screen. So we spent like the first 10 minutes of the call before the call, actually, we spent 10 minutes figuring out the platform, because once the CEO, because we were in a chat and we were in a call with the CEO of this bank. And if you present in front of C-level executives, you know, those guys don't have time, right? And if you are wondering where the buttons are and why they cannot hear you, or why you cannot hear them, or how you can share your screen, that could backfire, right? So please, please, please push everyone around you, push yourself also. Once you are joining a call, spend the time, go through the tool, go through the software, learn the most basic features like unmute, like where the setup of all of the devices, how to share your screen, because obviously that is becoming very often, how to enable the chat, on and on and on, because you don't want to be the person who interrupts and brings that humongous, not just only distraction, but unpleasant, let's call it, experience. So that's tip number one. So let me share my screen. So I'll click and go share, and I'll share. Because obviously we are going to be playing around with our screen now. So you should be seeing my screen right now. And the next moment, the next thing that I want to offer here is, how many of you, and I'll bring the chat back, how many of you have seen the following? Have you guys ever requested someone from the other side of the call to share a file with you, be that a presentation, be that an Excel file, be that, I don't know, a Word or a PDF or a platform like a website, whatever? Have you ever been in that case where you request that from the other side and they cannot find that file, cannot find that thing? Have you been there? Let me see the answers. So I'll go back to the chat quickly. So, have you been there? Let's see. Open Q&A. Come on, participants. No. So answered questions. Where is my now chat? That's kind of interesting. Candy. What is being more chat? Okay. So that is kind of strange. So have you seen that one? No, you're in this situation. Yeah, kind of. Kind of. I was like, what the hell is going on in this chat now? Okay, not too often. They usually find these. Okay. So it is not that often to see that happen. Okay, so cool. So one quick suggestion here on all of those things, like when you are going to be So if you are going to be asked to find a file, like try to figure out whether or not you're on a PC, whether or not you are on a Mac. There are so many ways. Obviously, there is no single answer to that question, but make sure that you have your files organized, that you have all of the things that may be asked from you in a very quick, like you don't have to spend so much time wondering, where is this happening? How is this happening? Where is my file? Oh, wait a minute, this is the previous version of the file. Let me find the new one. The new one, where is it? Is it on the SharePoint, whatever? So just a quick, like, kind advice. For example, for our session, I have a quick shortcut here on the left-hand side of the menu. So I can just click here. I can see very quickly 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Obviously, there is a reason why there is an order here. However, once we are, for example, in a client meeting and they ask us to share, for example, a project, everything is being arranged in advance. Like there is a structure to everything during the meeting, because we don't want to ask the client to wait for so long and look at us looking for and searching for all of those files. So for example, if they ask us to show a portfolio, we can quickly go to the portfolio. Let's say I can quickly go then to the folder that I'm kind of looking for. And then again, I can see 0 found, 1 before, then after. So I can say, wait a minute, let me show you what we have actually done. I can open the folder actually. So I can click on the presentation here, open the presentation that they are looking for to see. I know very well that it's there. I don't have to be searching for it, on and on and on. So this is something that I see very often. And to be completely honest, we recently saw it. It was not exactly recently, but it was like 5 or 6 months ago when we were searching for another software, and we were looking to buy a piece of software, and we joined a web call with a vendor of this software. And so he was constantly looking for the files that he wanted to present to us. And to be completely honest, if I have to kind of summarize how much time he spent on searching for those files, maybe these were like a minute or 2 or something like this, in kind of frustrating mode for all of us. So be extremely careful here, because it may be really, really frustrating for the client or for yourself. So please make sure that the way it works, like find the way for yourself to organize the files for that meeting or for that call. Let them be very quickly, like let them be on a very easy for you place to find, because otherwise it is a needed distraction and a needed frustration. Okay, so now that being said, what happens during the presentations, and during not only online presentations but most often it happens there, even though I'm sure you have seen it in live presentations like conferences, seminars, what have you. Have you guys seen someone presenting something, and during the presentation, for example, Outlook shows up, a notification from Outlook shows up, or from Slack, or from Skype for Business, or from Viber, or from WhatsApp, or any chat client, or any other notification? Have you guys seen that one happening? Anyone? Let's see for the docs in advance. It's working up until now. Yep. So now, here is a very interesting question. How can it not so often? Okay, some of you have seen it. Okay, so please consider each and every, like once you have something to be showing outside of PowerPoint, but also inside of PowerPoint, not in slideshow mode, because once you're in slideshow mode, it's really hard for a notification to pop on top of slideshow mode. However, if you are sharing like an Excel file or whatever, please make sure that there are no distractions, that there are no tools that are enabled, that are working, because any notification can be a distraction. Close any tool that's not needed. And what's more, what you can do on a Windows machine, for example, one of the things that you can do is, for example, the following. Take a look. So if I go to the Start menu on any Windows, like including Windows 7, and by the way, we recently, last week, we saw a training room with Windows XPs, which was kind of, wow, that was kind of a shocker. But once you're in the Start menu, you can immediately just type in notifications, and you will see a setting in Windows that will enable you and will help you shut down all of them and just disable all notifications. So if I go there, you will see something like this. Maybe on your machine, the background will be kind of grayish, whitish. I'm just using this modern dark mode thing right now on Windows 10. So from here, you can easily kill all of the notifications, just turn off almost everything, and most importantly, turn this dial off, like switch that dial off, get notifications from apps and other senders. That one will help you, okay? So turn that off when you're presenting. At least when you're presenting, I personally work this way. What's more, another interesting thing is that in the newest builds, in the newest editions, in the newest versions, let's call it, of Windows 10, you will see another feature that was just released. Maybe some of you will see it. It's called, and it sits underneath the notifications and action settings, and it's called Focus Assist. So if you go to Focus Assist, you are able to kind of push out and just remove notifications even further and kind of make sure that there will be no other notifications on a completely different level. So here, what you can say is just you use this feature, which is called alarms only. Obviously, if you're using your machine for an alarm, which I haven't seen up until now someone doing, but if you are doing it, obviously the alarms will still work. But this one will also help you out with apps and other things that can pop up on your screen. Just put it here on alarms only and you're good to go, okay? So that is one of the things that's really, really important, the notifications. Kill them from Windows, kill them from Mac. On a Mac, you can go on the right-hand side, which is on your right-hand side, and just say, do not disturb, right? That should be helping you, even though we have seen cases where some things happen and some notifications still pop up, but still it will help you. But when you're on a Windows, turn the notifications on from here and from Focus Assist, obviously, if you have this feature. Now, what else have you seen? Have you seen the following? Have you seen, and I'll turn the chat on, have you guys seen someone presenting to you? They're searching for a file. And when they're searching for the file, for some reason, they go on their desktop. And their desktop is full of icons. It's a mess. Okay, there are just a lot of things. Have you seen that one? Like people's desktops, like really, really full. Have you seen anything like this? Let's see in the chat again. Yep. Victor, by the way, is really active today. So mine is like that. Yep. From Vesela. I have seen desktop on many levels. That's kind of interesting statement, Diana. I have seen desktop on many levels. So what I wanted to show you here, guys, is something that I'm kind of shocked that, at least from our experience with our corporate clients, not that many of our clients know about. So let me show you what I mean. So most of the people, when they're working on, when they're in a webinar or when they're about to be presenting, their desktops are full of things, right? And if they get to the point where they say, wait a minute, if they see my icons, maybe there is something that should not be seen. Maybe there is something that's confidential. Or maybe we should consider the fact that if they see my icons, this is considered a distraction, right? If I see the icons of someone, I'm immediately drawn into the desktop and just kind of exploring what's on their desktop. If, however, that person is presenting at the same time, I'm not listening, right? So you should be considering this as some type of distraction, and you don't want distractions. You want the full focus to be on you as the speaker. So many people, if they realize this, what they do is they create a new blank and an empty folder. They call it something like, at least this is what they called us recently in one of the biggest clients in the world. You are drinking their products, let's call it this way. They're like, we have a folder that's called desktop 1, desktop 2, desktop 3, desktop 4, and desktop 5. on and on and on and on. So what they do is they create a folder, they move all of the files to that folder, they cut and paste that folder into My Documents or any other folder, they present, right? They present. And then once the presentation is over, the webinar is over, they bring back everything. So let me show you a quicker way to figure that out, okay? So one of the quickest ways to just make sure that no one sees any of your icons is the following, especially on a Windows machine. Just right-click on your desktop, okay? Right-click on your desktop, no matter of the Windows versions that you are in. Go to the View tab. And once you go to the View tab, you will see a button that's called Show Desktop Icons. It's not kill all desktop icons, remove all. It's not like that. It's show and hide. So let me show you what happens. See? These are my icons. Now that you see them, you're like, what's on Boris's desktop? Let's see. Oh, this is some lady build their mom. Oh, so they're working with build their mom. Okay. So why is there a photo of my dog in here? Does he have a dog? Really? It's a cutie. So why? What's there in his recycle bin? So all of those questions can be brought to your head, and that is a distraction. At the same time, I don't want to remove those files. I want to have them on my desktop for some reason, even though I don't personally. Instead of creating a new folder, like new folder, desktop 2, right? Cut and paste all of those files or move them here, then cut this folder into another one. Instead of me doing all of that, I just can do the following: right-click, view, show desktop icons. And that's that. How many of you knew that one? Anyone? Does it work on a Mac? Nope, but on a Mac, you have some other options that you can hide your icons also. You can, I don't remember exactly the instructions, but one of the things that you can, obviously, you can Google how to hide my icons on a Mac, but also on a Mac, you can do something else, which is kind of cool, which now you can do on Windows. Also, I'll show it to you on Windows. What you can do is you can create a new desktop, a virtual desktop, and you can be presenting from that desktop, which is blank, empty, right? On Windows 10, you can actually create this in the following way. So if I go here to the so-called task view, this is one of the new features of Windows 10. If I go to the task view, you will see the history of my files and stuff like that. However, I can, from on top of the screen, you will be able to see that there is an option for you to create a desktop. So I have created another desktop, and if I click on it, you'll see that there is nothing on it, and it's empty. So I can be presenting from here, doing the same things, and then once the presentation is over, I can just go again back to a task view, go back here and re-enable. I can even leave them here. So I can go to the desktop. Let's go here. Just kind of immediately change that, even though it kind of works every single time, and I don't have a backup for this one. If you have the virtual desktop, that is a completely blank desktop that you should not be seeing anything on top of it. So that is something that you can try on a Mac. It works on a Mac. Also on the Windows, you should be able to try it. But also on the Mac, I'm completely sure we have recently been exploring another feature on a Mac, which turned out to be a paid app. It costed like $4 or something. But on a Mac, you can do the same. I was using a Mac for 4 years. And even back then, and I'm not using a Mac for, I don't know, the last 3 years, I think, there was this feature back then. So it's just a matter of how exactly how exactly do you enable this. So let us know, by the way, if you Google it right now, let us know in the chat what do you need to do on a Mac, because I believe there will be someone else on the chat or someone who is going to be seeing this recording who will benefit from your insight here, okay? So let us know in the chat. So the other thing that you may have seen regarding the demos is this one. So have you seen someone presenting and they have a ton of tabs opened in their browser? That happened to us when we were not buying the platform that we are using for our online courses that you can find on academy.356labs.com. We have online courses there. And we ended up buying another platform not only because of the demo of the person who was presenting to us was, how can I say it, not the thing that we were searching for, but also because once he decided to show us his screen, I saw so many things. He jumped into Google Chrome, and in Google Chrome there were so many tabs. And me being curious, I'm like, wait a minute, let's see whether or not he has our website turned on, open. Let's see whether or not he has their competitors and their website turned open. Let's see whether or not he has our competitors like in one of his tabs. And I'm kind of exploring, like, let's see what tabs does he have here. So this is again a distraction, right? Don't go there. Be extremely mindful on all of those things. You don't want someone to be distracted by anything. Any distraction, anything that's not adding value to what you're saying, you should remove it. So how are you going to do it? Whether or not you are going to be closing all of your tabs, whether or not you are going to be using, let's say, another browser, right? Whether or not you're going to go to Microsoft Edge only for demos, right? Whether or not you are going to use Google Chrome, right? But then you use the incognito window, right? That is completely up to you, right? That is completely up to you. And even here, I have hidden the websites because, for example, I have something that's personal, but what is in here? Like, why should you care that I have like 30 websites for sneakers? Like, what is this adding to the chat and to the webinar right now? Well, almost nothing. And from Google, what you can also do is also, so if I go to, let me just try this one. If you go to Google Chrome tab, so let me show you something. So if I go to Google Chrome and if I click on my screen, you should be able to see one of those features. So if I click on my profile in Google, you should also be able to see a guest window. I don't know whether or not you have used that one. That is yet again another option. So I can prepare a guest window. Just click here and you'll see a completely blank Google Chrome, right? So I don't know which option is the best. There are many options. There are many browsers. Choose the one that works for you. Just limit the amount of distractions that pop up on your screen, notifications, icons, tabs, anything. That being said, one of the other strange things that can happen during a webinar and during a demo, be that a webinar or be that something that's live at a conference or something like this, or a training, whatever, is potentially, I don't know whether or not you have seen it, but I have seen this in very large conferences. Someone is most of the times at public events, not on webinars, because when we are online, most of the times we are using our machines, right? However, when you are at a conference, sometimes you will see that the organizers of the event ask you to give them your presentation and you present from their computer. That is something that you should be really careful with. Always push to use your own machine, because you never know how that machine is set up, what's on it. Like, there are so many things that can fail. And the things that I have seen fail that are applicable both to the offline world and to the online world are, for example, screensavers, very, very disturbing screensavers, let's call it this way. Then go and try to explain that, go and try to explain to the audience that this is not your machine. It is very, very hard. However, what's more, I have seen some people typing in the chat, not in the chat, but in the web address, in the search box here, and there are websites that are popping up. Okay, they're the history of their websites. And sometimes that history is, let's say, not something that you want to show. And I have seen that internationally. So be extremely careful with your history in your browser also. Clean it up. Open a new browser that you are not normally using. Do whatever it takes, but don't do that mistake, because as you know, or at least as you may have heard, there will be like the first time nothing will happen. It will be all okay. The second time when you're presenting, it will be all okay. The third time it will be all okay. And then on the 11th presentation that you're delivering online, there will be something. And that presentation will be the most important one. You know, Murphy's Law, I believe they were called, right? So be extremely careful with all of those things. Now, let's jump to slides very quickly. Let me just bring in something here. Okay, so let me jump to slides quickly, because I want to show you something that's related to PowerPoint now, or Apple Keynote, or Google Slides, or Prezi for that matter, etc. So let me show you a presentation that's called this way. So this presentation looks like this. And if I start it in slideshow mode, you will see that this presentation is kind of moving. Take a look. So there is the logos coming up from the below. Then if I click again, there is a movement of the clouds. However, if I go more, you'll see another movement. The clouds are flying. Then if I go even further, you will see some objects flying down. However, that is, even though that is PowerPoint, right? Even though that is PowerPoint, because for some people, when they see it for the first time, they're like, this is not PowerPoint. It is PowerPoint. And we have talked about this quite a lot in the last 2 years. It is this transition that's called morph. What I wanted to say is that maybe you have seen presentations like this, even though that's not the worst thing. But you see what I mean by saying that. You probably were seeing these movements in a very slow manner, in a very kind of probably on your screen, because of the network connection between me and you right now, there was some delay. And sometimes the delay, you can see it look like this, right? The screen is just on frames. It is so slow, it becomes annoying, right? I don't know how you saw it, but I'm sure you have seen presentations like this. If you haven't, let me show you one of those. So if I try and take one of those presentations, so if I take this same, but then I go crazy, right? If I go crazy, I can do the following. I can go to the transitions and I can say, wait a minute, let's use something that kind of looks okay, kind of looks fancy, modern to some people. That's called, let's say, which one? Let's see, Vortex. So take a look what's going to happen on your screen once I click Vortex. So take a look and let me know how smooth it is. So look. So I'll do it again just because I believe it's kind of fun. So this is the first slide. Right? How smooth is this? And how smooth it is to enable all of those slides to use transitions like Vortex. So I'm presenting here. Take a look. Let me know in the chat, by the way, how smooth it is or how not smooth it is. And then I have another slide, so I move to the next slide. Right? I believe it's very pleasant for you. I'm completely sure that it is really, really pleasant for you. So I don't go and move on. Right? How pleasant is the experience? Let's see in the chat. Sort of frozen. I can't see anything you do as changes. Theodora, that's like Pravet's PC, Victor again being active. Yeah, that is the problem. So one of the specifics, even though some frozen for me too, black screen, okay, well, imagine this. If it's completely frozen for you completely, let me know, by the way, when you are seeing the presentation froze at all. So consider that. You are not even now seeing the presentation. It completely froze because one of the reasons, potentially reasons, is because of the crazy transition that I applied that you can try on your machine that's called Vortex. Like if you go to PowerPoint, for those of you who are not seeing my screen, let me know when the screen is back. So if you go to PowerPoint again, right? If you go to PowerPoint again and go to the transitions, try it for any of your presentations and see what happens if you go to the transitions and then find this transition that's called Vortex. because once we applied it here on this presentation, your screen went black completely. For some of the people here, so for some of the people on the webinar, it was like a private PC. It was so slow, it was unbearably, like it was very, very slow. The interesting part is that we kind of did a seminar like this here in our office, and we did a Skype for Business call with one of our colleagues. So I was presenting from upstairs. She was here on my place, right on here, exactly on the same spot even. I asked her to change one of her slides to Vortex so that the audience in the room sees what the effect is for me as her audience. Bear in mind, we are in the same room, we're in the same building, we're on the same network. And it was extremely, extremely slow. So I can only imagine how slow and how awful it is on your end, right? It's only the webcam that is okay. The presentation is still stuck. Wondering if it's running on your side. Should be running. Let me just try again. Let's see. How many of you guys are seeing my screen? How many of you? It's back here, stuck. Do you see my screen? Can you see the screen? No. Frozen on the transition, Jesus. Stuck. Okay, so the screen is being shared, at least on my end. So if it's completely stopped, let me stop the screen sharing and then just restart the screen sharing and we'll figure it out. No worries. Frozen on the initial slide to share. Jesus, that's kind of awful. Okay, so stopping the screen sharing right now. Give me a sec. I'll wait for like 2 or 3 seconds so that we kind of see what happens. And then, no, okay. And then I'll go and click back and go share, okay? So let me know if you are seeing the screen sharing again. You should be seeing the chat. Yes? Yes? Okay, so, wow, that's kind of interesting. That's first time ever. So for very few of you, the Zoom platform was still working, but for so many of you, the whole thing crashed. Let me, by the way, show you what the other 3 to 4 to 5 people actually saw. Prepare to be kind of, if that, by the way, if that breaks again, if it freezes again, that will be really interesting. So let me show you the presentation again. So that's the presentation. You should be seeing that presentation, right? That presentation, I don't know whether or not you have seen it in the first version. So it looked like this. So let's wait a bit. So in the first version, you see logos. Then you see movements like this, right? Then you see some other movements, right? But that's the first version. And I can imagine that even those movements on your end are kind of slow. Is that correct? Let's see. Are those kind of slow? The great dial up from the, yeah, they are slow. So now Bojana and all of you guys that I can see you only no slides you are sharing. Jesus, Theodore, can you kind of, the other guys are seeing it. Can you kind of rejoin or wait for a bit more and then rejoin in the Zoom if that continues, because you should be able to see the screen share for sure. I rebooted it even, I restarted it even. So let's see the chat. Now it works, but with the delay. Exactly, that's what I meant. So now let me show you what happens if you are using some crazy animations, crazy transitions inside of PowerPoint, or for that matter, in any other presentation software out there, Keynote, Google Slides, whatever, right? Take a look. So if that's the first slide, look, hopefully it won't die on you. So it's over on my end. Let's see how much time and how pleasant it is for you. Hopefully it won't break. Let's see on the chat. So did it break again for you guys? Or you seen it? Mobile phone now it works, but it works perfectly on mine, same as yours. So do you see it? It was 5 sections. Nope, this time, but it was low. 4 different frames only. Kind of okayish, kind of okayish. However, I'm sure, and some of you are seeing it slower than the others because of obviously the connection and stuff like that. Didn't break, but slow. Again, imagine people using this transition on every slide. How frustrating that could be. Will that give you a reason at some point to just kind of say, hey, I'm not going to consume those slides anymore. Let me go and open Instagram or Facebook or my email. I have seen that happening. So don't, in a webinar, please make sure that you are using some simple transitions, simple effects, almost no such animations and stuff like that. Just to guys give you context, same presentation, look now what's going to happen. This is with the transition fade, which you have for sure, like this, all of those will now move with fade, which is the most basic transition out there. So let's see how slow it will be now, because it should be a bit, but still a bit better than before. So again, this is first slide, second slide, the logos. This is actually the same slide, but again, logos coming up with fade transition again. Then second slide. It should be way quicker and way smoother than before and not slow and frame by frame, right? Then third slide, right? Should be way quicker, way quicker, right? So let's see whether or not it's quicker on your end. Let me know in the chat, and then I'll open another presentation, the same version. So here it is again. However, this time we are going to use no transitions whatsoever. So way better. Now, Diana, take a look at this one. So this one now will use no transitions at all. Something that I personally and we personally as a company won't recommend you do for an offline environment, a seminar, workshop, training, conference, something like this. We won't recommend you do that. However, for a webinar, maybe you want that. Maybe you want that because you don't want to frustrate the people on the other end, right? So take a look at how it will work now. It should be even better, slightly, but again, just a bit better. So take a look. So this is slide number 1, then the logos, obviously, which is now something that we know. And then we have slide number 2, slide number 3, and it should be even smoother than before, right? Let me know what you're seeing. So I'll go escape. Should be even smoother than before, right? Let's see. There was partially involved as well. Now it's perfect, Bojana. So Ludmil is saying something that's really interesting. There was an option for Skype for Business to upload the presentation instead of sharing it. The delay was solved for me this way. Is it available in Zoom? So, by the way, bear in mind something else in Skype for Business. That could be a problem sometimes, though. Don't forget that, because up until like, I don't know, like very recently, Skype for Business, when you were uploading your materials to the platform, what was happening behind the scenes was the fact that actually they were using the PowerPoint online feature. Because of that, however, if you are using, because of that, if you are using custom fonts, that could break, right? And that is a problem. So maybe in your case, you didn't have this problem. However, in some of the cases where you're using some very kind of customized presentation and you upload it to Skype for Business, you may see some fonts being meaning the text box is completely moved all across the slides. Why? Because, well, when you don't have the font, have you seen a presentation where you don't have the font, like all of the text boxes are all across the place, like everything is just completely broken. So that can happen. That can happen on when you are uploading the Skype for Business when you're uploading the presentation into Skype for Business. Is it available on Zoom? That is a very good question. That is a very good question. Let me follow up on you. Let me follow up with you on this one. Let me write that down, and I'll check it for you. Zoom upload. I have personally not used it up until now, but that makes sense to be checked, because if you are obviously presenting for, let's say, people in Asia or in America or whatever, you may want to try this. even though I doubt that they figured out the fonts problem. So I'll check that one for you and let you know afterwards. So a few more things that I want you guys to show you today. So this is the transitions. Don't go crazy on the transitions, even though sometimes you may say, wait a minute, these transitions make so much sense, right? I would argue that transitions like Vortex, or for example, I won't even play them because you will struggle for sure. There are transitions like Glitter, like Honeycomb, like Ripple. All of those are in the product for so many reasons, most of them political. Don't use them if they don't bring value to the message that you're presenting and to the presentation that you're delivering. If they're not adding anything to what you're saying, please don't use them. Use Fate. That's the most basic one. Or for webinars, none. Because as you saw, that's the best option to not kind of frustrate the audience. Because if you're having 100 slides or 400 slides or what have you, and all of your slides are moving with Vortex or anything similar to Vortex, I'll disconnect. I'll just completely remove the Skype for Business tab or completely remove the zoom in window or whatever and just listen. However, in the slides themselves, there may be something very, very important. And if I don't see it, that may be a problem for you as the speaker and for me as the audience. So that is very, very important. Now, last thing, the last trick and the last tip that I wanted to give you. So first we were having the sharing screen feature. Like many times, different tools have different options in terms of sharing the screen. Have in mind that know the tools. More or less, that's the trick here. Not the sharing of the screen, but most of the cases we see someone not knowing how to share the screen, or someone not knowing how to figure out the audio device or whatever, or mute themselves. So make sure that you know the platform. If it's a new platform for you, join the call a few minutes earlier, try it out before on the previous day, whatever you need to do so that you don't frustrate the other side, right? You don't want to be the reason why people are kind of, oh, Jesus, here it goes again. This is the first thing. The second one is make sure that everything that you are going to be showing, if it's outside of PowerPoint or Keynote or Prezi or whatever, is like clicks away only. And you know where it is. It is arranged, like it is very easily findable. You can find it very easily. Then you have the notifications, like all of the distractions on your screen. Make sure that the distractions are off, icons are removed, history in your browsers, tabs, bookmarks, whatever. Like all of those are being removed. Then we have the transitions. Careful here, careful here. Even in the same building, there is a problem. And then is the last one that I want to kind of try to push towards. I don't know whether or not you are presenting with a webcam enabled. But if you are, or if it is possible for you, make sure you do that. Now, what I wanted to talk about here in the last trick, let's call it, is more or less the environment around you and how you treat and how you present online. So first of all, obviously you don't want to get in the situation. I will just share the link in the chat. So I don't know how many of you have seen this one. I won't play it because it will be slow. Let me know how many of you have seen this video in the chat. So you will guess it. Once you see it, you immediately guess it. So let me just show you. So how many of you have seen this one? I will mute, pause for a sec. And of course there is advertising, so let me move it. So let me just show you. Let me know in the chat. How many of you have seen this one? Let's see. Anyone knowing this one? The girl entering the room. Yeah. Okay. I have. So that is obviously it's a popular video. So just link for everyone who haven't seen it. Just remind yourself. So bear in mind that especially for important presentations, we are currently in a co-working space. We have done like in our heads everything that's possible so that no one enters in this room, whatever. However, if you are presenting something that's important, please make sure that there are no distractions around you, like there is no noise around you. One of the cool things in both Zoom and Microsoft Teams, for example, they just announced it in Teams, is that now you can blur the background even. In Zoom, I believe you can also do it even from like 6 months ago or even more. in Microsoft Teams, they just announced it, which is also maybe a feature sometimes that you may want to use, especially if the background is like very busy or there is something that people should not be seeing behind you. However, make sure that there is silence in the room and there are no distractions, because that thing became quite popular for a reason, right? Now, the second thing that's really important here, if you are using webcams, that is something that I believe is very, very interesting. If you are able to be using webcam, there is a trick that I want you to try if you haven't done it already, okay? I don't know whether or not you have seen it before, but I don't know. Obviously, when you are in a virtual setup like this one, we have a case where I don't see you, right? You can enable, some of you may enable their webcams, but normally I don't see the audience on the other side of the chat and the call. Now, in live presentations, trust is being built when you have eye contact with the audience, right? However, most of the times, if you carefully look how we present, you will notice something very, very interesting. You will notice that the presenter actually is looking a bit down. So they're not looking at where they should be looking, which is the webcam, right? I'm currently directly looking at the webcam, but they're looking at the screen. So I want you to see the difference on my face once I start looking down. So I'm currently looking at you, right? And there is this eye contact connection. However, if I just go a bit down and start looking at my screen, you will probably see a slight difference. And normally, this is what we do. This is how we speak. This is how we present. We look at the screen. We don't look at the webcam. And this way, there is the feeling that there is no eye contact is real. However, if I bring my eyes up again to the webcam, you will see, probably you will notice the difference. I don't know for how many of you see it. That would be kind of interesting for you to let me know in the chat. But once we tried it here in the room, I asked Eva from our team to do the same. And we were presenting her on the big screen on the projector. She was staring at the screen first, and there was like no eye contact with the audience. Then she just slightly moved her eyes up to the webcam, and you can just see the room. You can just sense the room, how everything changed. I don't know whether or not that's the same for you, but I would highly recommend, if you are able to, and if you haven't made that a habit already, please try to do that. Now let me see what's on the chat. Can you make it on full screen? So funny. Yeah, Ivan is like, what's going on? So that is something that you may wanna, this is something that you may wanna try, because once you are live, that is, once you are on an online call, you may want to do exactly that. You may want to kind of stare at the webcam when you are presenting, but when someone else is talking to you, then what you may wanna, I'll stop the share. Let me just stop the share. When you are presenting, you are then looking at the camera, but when someone else is talking to you, you look at the screen, okay? That is kind of the difference here. I don't know whether or not you have done this already or you're doing it already, but if you haven't done this already, please try, and you will see, potentially you will see a difference. Maybe even some people on the other hand side will tell you something kind of changed. Something changed in our communication, right? So try this out. It is a very interesting trick. Now, the other thing that I want to share here, when you're presenting online, make sure that when you're presenting, if possible, because not every single time it's possible, make sure that if possible, you are not sitting, okay? You're not sitting on a chair, if that's possible, okay? I know that I have worked for HP, companies like that. Not every single time it is possible. However, if it's possible for you to stand up and present as you are presenting at a live event or at a conference training, whatever, do so. Do so, because everything changes. Your voice will potentially change. The way you gesture, the way you sound, everything changes. So make sure that if it's possible, if you are able to go into another room even because of that, I would advise you to do that if you are able to do it, especially for the important presentations. Stand up, present as you are presenting in front of a live audience. There will be a humongous difference in the way you sound, in the way you look, the way you gesture, that, and which, by the way, kind of changes almost everything. So that is something that you also have to keep in mind. And one last kind of, which is out of the scope because we are having like 2 more minutes. One last, which was not planned, but I remembered that when was our last seminar? It was like 2 or 3 weeks ago here in the Sofia, in the office here in Sofia. There was a lady in the room that after the seminar was about to present for first time online. So she asked, what should I be careful for? What should I do? Is there something that's specific? Is there something that's different compared to this event? And one of the things that, obviously the things that I'm sharing with you, I kind of shared with her for a minute or so. Obviously we are here having a full hour on this one, but one of the things that I kind of mentioned there was that if you are using slides, and again, that suggestion, that idea, don't get me wrong, that is only for important presentations, okay? Not for every presentation, but for important ones. If you're presenting with slides and that presentation is considered important, and I would leave it to you, for you to tell me what is important presentation in your world, because for everyone, important means different things, right? But if you consider that presentation important, try to use a trick that's being used quite a lot in online trainings. So one of the tricks that some of the best platforms use with their authors, the training authors of the content, is that they are intentionally, bear this in mind, and again, only for important presentations because we are busy people, right? We don't have the time to do all of those things, especially this one for something that's just a sync call with a friend. You will notice that when trainings are being built for online environment, you will notice that the slides that the author is using are quite a lot. So authors and experienced authors, experienced presenters, speakers, what have you, what they do is they create more slides for the online presentation compared to that same presentation if it was about to be delivered offline here in the room upstairs. The reason why you need that, like more slides in terms of number, like just number. The reason why you need that is sometimes because of the animations. So if you want to have like multiple things showing up, instead of using animation, you can just go through copies of the slide. That is one thing. But also because you are using yet another shape, yet another form, as we like to say in our industry likes to say, of contrast. When the visual world around you changes, we as humans pay attention. And that is very, very important. So by building more slides for the online world, what you are kind of behind the scenes doing is you are actually giving a reason to the audience to not disconnect from your talk. That is just one trick that you can use, because once the slides are being changed almost every now and then, like very often, there is yet another reason why they should look, yet another reason why they should look, yet another reason why they should keep looking, yet another reason why they should keep looking, on and on and on and on. And maybe you will see that trick being used, especially in some of the coolest training platforms, online training platforms out there. They can tell you the message with one slide, but they don't. Sometimes they don't. They split the message and they intentionally have built more slides because it's an online environment. The reason? The visual change. When the visual world changes next to us and around us, we are for sure paying attention. And there are so many reasons for that. So just yet another bonus trick for all of you guys who joined today here. We're talking for visuals. So what is written on the wall behind you? What is written? Let me see whether or not you can see it. It should be here. Is it that one? That one, I don't know what's written. I completely don't know, to be completely honest. It's in some kind of, I don't know what's that. Like, I really don't. But again, these are just 5 plus 1 trick. If you guys haven't used them up until now, or at least if you haven't used all of them up until now, the next time when you're about to be delivering an online presentation, and that one you guys consider important, try to implement at least one of them, like at least one of them, especially this one, the eye contact, especially standing up. These will change the way you deliver that presentation. Even though the distractions, the notifications, all of those other things are also important, just setting up your machine properly is also as important as everything else. So the next time when you're building and when you're about to be presenting online, have those tricks in mind. If you want us to write them down again to you, ping us on Messenger and we will for sure. Because once you do it, you will see a dramatic improvement in the way you deliver those webinars. And I believe that's why you are here, and that's why we spent 1 hour together today. So thank you very much, guys, for spending the time with me today. I hope that you learned something new, that you heard something new, and we'll see you soon in May again for both a seminar here in Sofia and for a webinar, yet again online, obviously. And until then, check us out on Facebook, LinkedIn, all of the platforms. Also check, we have podcasts, you can find it all across, and we have online courses at academy.356labs.com. If you want to learn more about the world of presentations, go check them out. Thank you guys again, and see you soon. Bye. And stop.